Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And good morning to you. It's Wednesday, June 5th.
Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. It's also a global running day today, but later this afternoon, probably not a good day to run.
Probably not, but anything's got to be yesterday with that record heat index for San Antonio.
For sure. It was very hot out there, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, just oppressive is the word in all capital letters. If you did not see the numbers, here it is once again. Read it and sweat. We hit 117 officially out there at the airport. That is the heat index. That's what it felt like when you factor in temperature, humidity, some other things, that big long formula as long as your arm. But when however you slice it, it was hot out there. That was 3 o'clock yesterday. And at that time, we also hit a record high temperature. It got up to 103, the actual thermometer reading did yesterday. So yeah, it was a scorcher. It's going to be another hot one as we go in through today as well. Why is my little clicker not working here? Come on, clicker. Come on, work for me. And like I said, it's going to be hot again today. Why are we not doing this? You know, just when you think it's safe to go back into the new computers right here. Here we go. 82 degrees is what the temperature is right now, and about 10 degrees above normal. We've got all of this humidity. I mean, look at the dew point temperatures up to 78 here, as well as at Randolph, Floresville, 79 in Uvalde. All of this very, very warm, moist air is coming in here from the Gulf of Mexico. Heat index right now is more like what the normal high temperature should be. We have heat advisories and excessive heat warnings posted for later on this afternoon, and also a severe risk. So what we're watching is this cluster of storms up here in the northeastern portion of the state. These are sliding down south to southeast, but some of this energy is going to sort of spread in our direction. So the hope is that that then generates a couple of thunderstorms later on today. 100 again today. The record is 102, so it's going to be very close to it. Heat index is going to be 110, higher than that. Again, 1 or 2 showers or thunderstorm. I wouldn't get really excited about that, but hopefully it can, trim temperatures here and there just a bit. More of the same throughout the rest of the week, but there looks like a more significant change is down the road. We'll talk about that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Mr. Marquez, good morning, sir. Saw a bunch of flashing lights. Was that construction?
Yeah, there's definitely some construction taking place across the city, Mike, and we start right here with our biggest construction spot that we've seen over the past 48 hours or so. This is going to be 35 northbound at Walsham Road right there on the northeast side of town, and you see that we have the construction crews out there. Several main lanes are blocked right now as you head up 35 past Eisenhower Road, past Rittiman Road, and you do see that this is going to be causing some pretty good delays out there for our drivers. Yesterday, we saw that this lasted past the 6 o'clock hour. So again, something to keep in mind if you're headed to that side of town. Want to let you know about another construction situation that we're seeing right now. This is going to be 90 westbound at I-35, and again, based on our TransGuide traffic cameras that we see on the maps here, we also have still some flashing lights in this area. Again, the westbound lanes of 90 at I-35. Not seeing too many delays right now, and you do see a lot of green on our screen there from our traffic map, so that's good news for all of our drivers in that area. Just something to keep in mind if you're headed out on the west side of town. We have our live camera back up and out and about across the city of San Antonio. And Alex Gomez is back behind the wheel for us, and we're actually going out to 1604 and I-10 to check out some construction stuff going on there. Alex, can you hear me? Can you let everyone waking up early this morning know how things are looking out there?
Well, good morning, RJ. Yeah, this side of town looks to be in good shape right now. This is going to be the far northwest side. I just left I-10. I'm going 1604 westbound right now, and things have been smooth. You know, it's hot out here, but that means we have dry roads, so it should be a safe commute as you head out this morning. Happy Wednesday, RJ.
Yes, happy Wednesday to you too, Alex. As we come back out to our TransGuide traffic cameras, I want to let you know real quick about I-35 southbound at New Laredo Highway, another construction incident taking place here. And real quick, as we move on the rest of the morning, we're going to be checking back in with Alex to check out some ramp closures and entrance ramp closures taking place by the UTSA area and 1604. So we'll check back in with Alex here in just a bit. Mark and Stephanie, back to
Thank you, RJ. New this morning, San Antonio police say a man was killed in a northwest side motorcycle crash last night. It happened at Steuben Parkway and Catma Lane around 9:30 p.m. Police say the man in his 20s lost control of the motorcycle and crashed into a light pole. EMS crews tried to save him, but the rider was pronounced dead at the scene. No other vehicles were involved.
This morning, a 19-year-old man shot by a San Antonio police officer has died. This happened around 5:15 last night at an apartment complex on Babcock Road near the medical center. And that's where a woman says she called police after fighting with her boyfriend, who she says returned with a gun. An officer says that he found a man pointing a gun at the woman and heard the gun go off, then fired his own weapon. The woman was not hurt. The man died at a nearby hospital. Now, Police Chief William McManus described the situation as a domestic dispute. And if you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, we want you to know help is available to you anytime. You can scan that QR code on your screen, and that will direct you to a long list of resources. You can also visit ksat.com/domestic violence.
Just about 5:06. It's been 3 months and still no sign of this young man from New Braunfels. But now Corpus Christi police want you to know something new about 21-year-old Caleb Harris, who was reported missing back on March 4th. He was last seen near his apartment on Ennis Jocelyn Road in Corpus Christi. The day he disappeared, police say Caleb sent a friend a picture of a small bridge over a drainage ditch near his apartment complex. Then less than 10 minutes later, his phone was turned off. No one has seen him since. Police just issued a new statement regarding reports of activity on Caleb's phone. That statement reads in part, quote, although this activity may give the impression that Caleb has reactivated his cell phone, detectives are supremely confident that is not the case. But instead, it is simply the result of one of many investigative techniques currently being employed by the forensic computer examiners, end quote. If you know anything more about Caleb or where he might be, call Corpus Christi Police at the number on your screen.
A Seguin City Councilwoman has passed away. The city announced the death of District 2 Councilwoman Sonia Mendez on its Facebook page. Mendez was elected to Seguin City Council back in 2020. Her term would have expired in November.
In other news this morning, President Joe Biden's executive action on the southern border went into effect overnight.
It limits the number of migrants who enter the U.S. illegally from staying here as they seek asylum.
As taking a live look at Washington, D.C. this morning, some of our local leaders are there backing the president's move. And that includes Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar.
We're dealing with migrant deaths. We're dealing with stash houses. We're dealing with sex trafficking. Bodies found dumped on the side of the road is something that we continue to see. And in years past, we didn't see it to the extent that we're seeing it now. Today's executive order that was put out, it's not perfect yet, but I think it's certainly a step in the right direction.
That was just a portion of our interview with Sheriff Salazar. You can watch the full conversation on KSAT.com.
Well, meanwhile, as ABC's Christian Cordero reports, one of the main changes is now after a certain point, people who enter the U.S. illegally will no longer be allowed to stay while their asylum claims are being processed.
This morning, sweeping new rules for migrants at the southern border. In an aggressive executive action, President Biden immediately shutting down the asylum process in the U.S. for people crossing the border illegally, once migrant apprehensions averaged 2,500 a day over the course of a week.
Doing nothing is not an option. We have to act.
The rules would hold until unscheduled apprehensions dip below 1,500 per day for 2 weeks. There are limited exceptions for unaccompanied children and victims of human trafficking, and there is no limit on the legal process at ports of entry. The administration says something needed to be done to break months-long opposition to a bipartisan border security bill from congressional Republicans and their party's standard bearer.
The Republicans in Congress got a call from Donald Trump, don't do the deal. Because, you see, he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Former President Trump is now among the Republicans, saying Biden's move is too little, too late.
The truth is that Joe Biden's executive order won't stop the invasion. It's weak and it's pathetic.
Immigration advocates worry the executive order will only worsen the already months-long backlog at border crossings and endanger migrants.
What we are expecting now is that the Biden administration will weaponize what's left of our asylum system to criminalize migrants.
The president risking legal and political blowback from all sides, including progressives who worry with Republicans not budging on their stance against Biden, the move could backfire.
I think in the end we end up hurting the very people that we're fighting for.
The ACLU says it plans to challenge Biden's action in court. Christian Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
And the time is 5:09 and about 82 degrees right now.
Up next, why Netflix is dropping its support of some Apple TV devices very soon.
Also next, an update on the Dallas Cowboys mandatory minicamp and why a longtime right guard is getting ready for possibly his final season.
Outside with Live Cam. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll chat with Mike Ostrade and see if this run of extreme temperatures and high humidity will continue into next week. 5:13, longtime Dallas Cowboy right guard Zach Martin and most of his teammates opened up mandatory minicamp at the Star in Frisco near Dallas. The 34-year-old Martin gearing up for a potential final season, as he told the Dallas Morning News. We sent Mary Rominger to day one of the 3-day minicamp, and she has more.
So far, mandatory minicamps is showing us the Cowboys 2024 draft class is capable of filling some immediate voids. Head coach Mike McCarthy tabbing the group as the best the team has had. And veteran offensive tackle Tyler Smith, who will likely have a couple of new guys on either side of him for the first time in a long time this season, is loving what he's seeing.
As far as the O-line room goes, I've been blown away. We went out and got great athletes, great football players, and Coop, Tyler, and Nathan, and they're extremely athletic guys who have a lot of upside, guys who are learning fast.
But with positive comes some negative.
CeeDee's not here today, so.
The holdout continues for wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, who is eyeing a significant contract extension, one that could top or come close to fellow wideout Justin Jefferson, who just inked a historic $140 million extension with the Minnesota Vikings. Lamb is subject to fines each day he misses camp, but McCarthy isn't breaking a sweat on the football side.
Everybody's engaged, and I have no qualms or don't lack no confidence as far as our vets being ready. For all the veteran players, they've been engaged, and we'll be in a great spot.
Our coverage from day 2 of camp continues this evening. From Frisco, Mary Rominger, KSAT 12 Sports.
Thank you, Mary. We just saw Nick Mantis in the newsroom headed out. He's headed to Texans minicamp.
Yeah, we usually don't see him at this hour.
No, not at all. That would be weird.
Yes, it would.
5:15, 82 degrees.
Well, get ready for another price increase for a popular streaming service. Up next, how much more it will soon cost you to watch your shows on Max.
And taking a live look at one of our areas that we're watching this morning with a weird effect on the lens there at 35 and New Laredo Highway. RJ has an update coming up. And we're back as RJ steps over at the desk. And how are we looking so far? I know it's early.
Yeah, just a lot of construction taking place, kind of the usual construction that we see. Obviously, this situation here, 35 and New Laredo Highway for all of our drivers on the southwest side of town. But we do have some new construction to let you know about taking place on the north side. I know. Mike's just overjoyed over here.
Just when you didn't think there was enough, right, RJ?
There's never enough.
You can go over and comment during his forecast if it helps.
I like that. A little, like a little color commentary.
Sure.
So, yeah, do a little play-by-play and then color commentary. Here's a look again, I-35 at New Laredo Highway as we take a look at some other TransGuide traffic cameras here. We have a 281 Borgfield Drive. Traffic moving pretty good both directions there, 281. Same situation there at Wilderness Oaks. So, again, we mentioned some new construction that's going to be starting. Actually, it started last night. There are some entrance and exit ramps that are going to be closed over by the UTSA area off of 1604, and this was actually the map that I was working on just a little while ago. So basically, TxDOT said that the westbound ramp to Kyle Parkway and Loop 1604 and the westbound entrance ramp there, Babcock Road, will be fully closed at least for a couple of weeks or so. Actually, even more than that, until late this year. So it's going to be a while before they open up those entrance ramps. There are some temporary ramps that are going to be open here in just a bit, but we do have our photojournalist Alex Gomez out there checking things out for us. And all right, we're getting a live look here from one of our streaming vehicles. Alex, how are things looking out there on the far northwest side?
Well, they're looking pretty good. You can see crews are hard at work, and they are blocking those entrance ramps from Babcock and even Hausman right here. So they're still working right here on 1604 westbound. The main lanes are still going to be open, so there's no slowdown as of right now. But again, if you want to get on 1604, you're going to have to go a little bit further down to do that. So right now, yeah, like you said, a lot of construction, but hopefully sometime within this decade, we can get some relief, RJ.
Well, I was going to tell you, Alex, you've been doing this for a while now, and you're very knowledgeable when it comes to the streets and the highways here in our area. Have you ever seen it this bad in terms of the construction that we're seeing currently right now across the city?
No, I haven't seen it this bad. A lot of construction. We have it over here on the northwest side, even the northeast side. So, we're growing, RJ. That's a good thing. So hopefully, we can get this done pretty soon because we've got a lot of people coming into the San Antonio area.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex. We will continue to check in with him during our 5 o'clock hour and the rest of Good Morning San Antonio. More construction taking place here, 35 northbound at Walsham Road. Looks like they actually moved the convoy up just a little bit further on 35 north. But again, we do see some activity there, some backup here, Eisenhower Road and Rittiman Road there as well. All right, Mike. Yeah, it's been brutal outside, to say the least. So,
when you're asking about construction, though, remember 25 years ago, something like that, when they did the whole 410. And they were doing the interchanges at 10, 410 and 281, and they widened that. That was one to grin and bear it. So
absolutely, yeah. So, and then remember they had 281, 1604 a few years back. That's really helped out that area. So, you know what? It'll take a while, but we're going to get there.
We're going to do anything not to talk about this. So throw in the color commentary if you want to. 102. This is Richard Kaiser sent this picture in up there around Stone Oak. And look at that. On his home weather gauge, it felt like 119. Of course, 117 was the official heat index during the afternoon, 3 o'clock yesterday out there at the airport, the highest ever recorded for a heat index reading. Over there at 10, at 410, everything's moving along very well, and going to be a similar situation to yesterday. Clouds this morning, a little more sunshine. We start to have it feel like triple digits already by noon, and already at the normal high temperature then, and going for 100 again later on today. There's that 20% chance for shower thunderstorm heat index readings, 110 higher than that today. That's why we do have the heat advisories and then the excessive heat warnings from Wilson, Atascosa County, Frio down to the south there. And of course, in some cases, you're going to get the heat index even higher than that. We're watching this cluster of storms, one of these nighttime storm complexes, which usually when the sun starts to come up, they tend to die down a little bit. But this thing's, as you can see, is big, and it's going to continue to work its way down to the south to southeast. And notice how it's already throwing out a little bit of that energy there around Waco. So this particular computer model has then some of that holding together and coming on in here. I'll believe that when I see it. There's another one that's not really too bullish about that. So, if that is the case, great. If we get a little bit of a northeasterly flow, that could help trim the humidity ever so slightly. And then with that energy still around the area, a couple of more of those showers and storms would then be firing up later on as we go on into the evening hours. So it's not a sure thing, but at least it's a glimmer of hope. And of course, some of those could be on the strong side. Once again, the atmosphere is really, really volatile. Looking at some of the numbers, they're almost off the chart measuring the volatility of the atmosphere. But you got to get something going out there. So other than that 20% chance for a shower thunderstorm, it's going to remain very hot and humid, triple digits all the way through the weekend. There is, and yeah, that's not a misprint, a weak front that will try to slide through here. It's going to knock temperatures down, maybe even a little bit cooler than that going into the middle part of next week, going back down to normal readings. So it does look like there is an end in sight for this extreme heat, but we just got to grin and bear it through the weekend. More after this.
You are bountiful. Your bones can support 2 times your weight. It's in your nature to stand strong. Your cells renew every 27 days. It's in your nature to glow. Your digestion can improve by laughing with friends. It's in your nature to thrive. Your body is brilliant. From your head to your heels, we're just here to supplement you. Nature's bounty. It's in your nature.
How you like me now? These new menu items at Panera are perfect 10s. They're also each under $10. More new sandwiches and salads, more in every bite, and more new options under $10. Come taste the new era at Panera and get a $0 delivery fee for a limited time.
Many facts, healthcare information.
Looking for a moisturizer that does more than just moisturize? Try Olay Regenerist for 10 benefits in every jar. Olay visibly firms, lifts, and smooths wrinkles by penetrating the skin to boost regeneration at the surface cellular level. Try Olay.
Another popular streaming service is raising subscription prices. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has details in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, get ready to pay more for Max. The streaming service, formerly known as HBO Max, has increased its ad-free plan by $1 to $16.99 a month. The news comes a day after Spotify announced price hikes to its premium tier plans, and Peacock prices go up next month for the Olympics. TikTok says a cyber attack targeted high-profile accounts, including CNN and Paris Hilton. The platform is working with affected users to restore access and add security measures. No details were given about the nature of the attack, but TikTok says it stopped the threat. And finally, Netflix is cutting off older Apple TVs. The streaming giant will stop support for second and third generation models after July 31st. Netflix says this change will ensure the best possible experience for users. I suppose Netflix decided some apples are not core to its future. Those are your Tech Bites.
What do you guys think?
He paused a lot
Yeah,
for
he
that
did.
one.
Chris,
right?
what do you think of that one?
No comment.
Okay. All right. He's so chatty. 528, 82 degrees.
Well, ahead on GMSA, how a full-service mortuary at San Antonio College is preparing the next generation of undertakers.
And today at noon, we're diving into the ways the San Antonio Food Bank can help you and your family, plus the many ways hunger impacts our community.
We're, well known but not known well. And I think it answers that question of, most people know the San Antonio Food Bank for our distribution of food, either groceries or meals, but they really don't know the robust services that we offer.
Summer is usually when the food bank sees a rise in need. On the news at noon, we're taking our show on the road. Ursula, Tiffany Huertas, and David Sears will be live from the San Antonio Food Bank, bringing you stories from all over the community as summer begins. Good morning, everybody. Happy Hump Day. It is Wednesday, the 5th.
Thanks for joining us. Yes, the 5th. This year, it is National Running Day or Global Running Day, so people celebrate.
And we have our representative.
Right, she is.
Going out and running, but it's so hot out there.
I was going to say, the rest of us are trying to run away from this extreme.
Are you a runner, RJ?
I try. I'm not at the level that Stephanie is at all, but no, I try.
So basically,
if I get in 2 miles, then
she
that's
can,
a great thing.
Unless I'm fleeing.
2 miles, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
2 runs up the stairs. That's about, and so.
Stairs are good.
Well, thank you.
And they're indoors.
That's true, yeah. And we saw in the last half hour, construction crews are already hard at work this early in the morning trying to beat the heat. And if you have anything to do outside later on today, if you can do it earlier on, obviously in the day to beat the heat, because we're going to have those heat index readings way up there. Right now it feels like 90. The normal high temperature is 91. So it feels like what the normal high is as of right now. 92 in Poteet, and 89 is the heat index there in Gonzales. Of course, yesterday we hit that 117. We're going to have heat index readings well up there, 110, higher than that again today. Hence the reason for the heat advisories and the excessive heat warnings just to the south of San Antonio, going down 35, going down 37. And also there's a small chance for a stray shower or thunderstorm later on today. So it's encouraging, not a great chance, but at least there's that small chance. We're going to warm up through the 80s this morning. And of course, we are going to make it up to right around the upper 80s, 90 already the normal high temperature by noon. And then 98 at 6 o'clock. That's after we hit 100. So right in there, 4 or 5 o'clock, we are going to be hitting 100 degrees again. Yesterday, by the way, we hit 103. That was a new record high temperature. Today's record is 102. So going to be close to it once again. And it's going to stay this way throughout the rest of the week. Maybe a slight drop in the afternoon humidity as we go in toward the latter portion of the week. And then down the road, there is a bigger change, a glimmer of hope for getting back down to normal temperatures, I should say. All those details in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, what's going on, RJ?
All right, Mike, a lot of construction. That's what's taking place across the city of San Antonio right now. If you're up and about right now, maybe ready to step outside, you do see some construction behind me here. I-35 southbound New Laredo Highway. This is going to be on the southwest side of town, and not seeing much movement here from some of our construction crews in this area. So we'll continue to keep an eye on exactly what's going on out there on the southwest side of town. Was hoping that this would actually get cleared up, by 5:30, by 6 o'clock, and it looks like they're going to be out there for a little while. The other big problem spot that we're seeing right now, 35 northbound right there at Walsham Road, and we saw this yesterday. They did cause major backup here going all the way back to Eisenhower Road to Rittiman Road, and not only do we have this construction taking place, but also a little bit further up 35, obviously Topper Wine, Judson, kind of know the drill when it comes to those areas right there on the northeast side of town. And then want to let you know about this new project that just started here. Again, more construction. This is going to be 1604 West. This is going to be the entrance ramp right here at Babcock Road and Kyle Seal Parkway. So this is going to be the entrance Babcock Road, the exit ramp at Kyle Seal Parkway. Those have now been closed at least through the later parts of this year. So this is going to be an ongoing closure here for those ramps, that one exit ramp and that one entrance ramp right there by UTSA. And coming up in just a little bit, we're going to check back in with our live camera out there that's going to be at the scene and give you a little bit more information on what is going on out there on that far northwest side. Mark, Stephanie, back to you guys.
Thank you, RJ. San Antonio College is home to the first and only mortuary on a college campus. Services to the public started Monday.
Well, the opening comes at a critical time when the U.S. faced a shortage of funeral directors. About 60% of directors are expected to retire in the next 5 years.
Patty Santos got a close-up look at how the full-service mortuary at SAC will prepare the next generation of undertakers.
This is the San Antonio College Mortuary at Ashby House.
It's been the vision for San Antonio College, led by Mortuary Science Program Coordinator Mary Mena.
That idea started about 16 years ago, actually. And here it is, 16 years later that we have our own funeral home.
SAC already offers 2 programs, a year-long funeral director certificate, which teaches students how to make arrangements and guide families, and a 2-year associate in science mortuary degree in funeral directing and embalming.
On the other side is the embalming facilities. We actually do our own embalming on campus.
We are doing everything we can to produce the best class funeral directors and embalmers.
Jennifer Floyd, funeral director for SAC Mortuary, says students will now get the full scope of how to help families during a fragile time.
Your loved ones are only going to die one time, and we only get one time to do it right. We don't get do-overs.
But everyone has to start and learn somewhere. Now, that place is here.
How is it that students do when they actually have to do this? Are they pretty nervous?
Well, I think that we all are. I think that 24 years later, I'm still nervous. The unique thing about being in the funeral industry is that no family is alike.
The cost of the new mortuary facility is estimated at $300,000, and it includes a new hearse. Lloyd says the college doesn't expect to make a profit. Every dollar earned goes back into the program. How does choosing SAC Mortuary over others compare in price?
We're in the middle. We are not the least expensive. We're also not the most expensive. The goal was to be in the middle, so we're non-competitive.
And each year, about 20 to 25 students are certified through these programs. And we checked with the National Funeral Directors Association, and they tell us they don't know of any other college that has a mortuary on its campus. So staff here tell me, being the first, they are learning a lot to make this program better. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Patty. Another news, senior Biden administration officials are headed to the Middle East this week for talks on a possible ceasefire and hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas. CIA Director Bill Burns, who has been the administration's point man on negotiations, is expected to travel to Qatar. The Qataris are acting as intermediaries in talks between Israel and Hamas. Middle East coordinator Brett McGurk is also headed back to the region. The visit comes amid a furious diplomatic push by Biden and his administration to get Hamas and Israel to accept the latest ceasefire proposal.
Well, this morning, AT&T says service is back up and running after an issue left millions of customers unable to make calls to other phone networks. Customers in at least 24 states from Washington to Florida were affected. Self-reported outages showed New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Dallas, Pittsburgh, and Indianapolis among cities with the most reported issues. This is the second time in 3 months that AT&T has experienced an outage. In late February, AT&T customers across the country experienced a similar outage following a software update, according to the company.
Toyota says it's still working on a fix for its latest recall. It involves debris that may have been left in the engine during assembly. Toyota says it can cause vehicles to lose power while driving. Recall affects 100,000 Tundra pickup trucks and 3,500 Lexus LX 600 SUVs. If your vehicle is affected, you should get a letter by the end of next month.
The time now is 5:40 and 82 degrees for now.
80 years ago tomorrow is the anniversary of the D-Day invasion. Up next, we hear from the World War II veterans who were there that day.
Look out there with live cam. Yeah, starting at 82 degrees. It's already warm. Things will get warmer today. It is National Running Day, but if you're going to do that, I suggest go this morning if you can, or late in the evening. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow is the 80th anniversary of D-Day, the beginning of the end of World War II.
As CNN's Amy Kiley reports, many are gathering in Normandy for the commemoration, and the focus now is on the few veterans of the conflict who are still alive.
After 80 years, I would be back here not only to visit, but to be alive.
Veterans of World War II are gathering in France today. Celebrations are underway ahead of tomorrow's 80th anniversary of D-Day. That's when the U.S. and other Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy in 1944. It's considered the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany.
I felt that mankind had lost its way.
Few veterans from back then are still alive. The survivors are around 100 years old. This could be the last D-Day celebration of this scale with living witnesses.
Overwhelming that I had no idea that anything like this would be prepared.
That we won the war.
The French First Lady and President are serving as hosts. It's arrival day for President Joe Biden, and British royals also are participating in the festivities. But the focus is on the troops who fought a war and ultimately won peace. This is a time to honor those still alive today and those who never made it home.
It's hard to describe. You know, all these people never think they recognize old veterans, you know, what our country really means. You know, I love my country.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Big World War II buff. There's two movies off the top of my head you should check out that pay homage to D-Day. One is called The Longest Day. John Wayne is in it.
Oh.
And then Saving Private Ryan, of course, with Tom Hanks. One of the most intense first 15 or 20 minutes of a movie ever made.
Yeah, it's a good week to remember.
It is. Right now we are at 5:45.
Let's go ahead and look out there with TransGuide. This is a shot of 281 where things look okay. Also, we're looking at all the good shots now. I-10 and Brazos right here at this angle, and 35 at Walsall. But we're going to be checking in with RJ to see what other construction may be going on today.
5:49 right now. Let's check on things with the roads right now as we take a look at our TransGuide traffic cameras. And 35 right now on the southwest side, a bit of a mess as you see behind me from our TransGuide traffic cameras. This is our camera right there at 35 southbound at New Laredo Highway. And it looks like they actually have the ramp that was closed a little bit earlier to 410 coming off of 35 out there in the southwest side of town. So if you're coming in from Somerset Road, well, it actually looks like they may have just reopened that. If you're coming in from Somerset Road area, definitely might run into a little bit of backup as we're seeing out here in this part of town. And this is actually where our live camera is now headed as we head back and check in with Alex Gomez out there on the roadways with us. So he was on the far northwest side checking on those entrance and exit ramp closures at Babcock and Hausman. And now he is making his way south to the southwest side. Alex, how are things looking out there?
Well, they're looking pretty good right here. This area has no issues. This is 35 South right at Highway 90. So again, I'm going to go further more southwest to see if everything is looking better, and I'll let you know what I see out there, RJ.
All right, thank you very much, Alex. Yeah, we saw that he just passed Theo and Malone. That's kind of the Burbank High School area. So we're trying to see if Alex can make it out there before they pick up some of the construction in this area. Want to show you real quick some of the maps here. And we are seeing, again, this buildup here. 35 southbound, 410, backing things up a little bit towards Somerset Road. So keep that one in mind if you're about to head out in this part of town. So one other trouble spot that we've seen over the past 24 hours, 48 hours or so, I-35 at Walsham, but we now see that traffic is actually moving a little bit better through this area. So good news for all of our drivers on the northeast side that were kind of stuck in this mess over the past couple of days or so. So biggest thing we're seeing, guys, southwest side, 35 South, New Laredo Highway. We'll check back in with Alex here in just a bit and see if we could get better look from the ground.
I love that he's out there.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, he's very knowledgeable about the city. That definitely helps. So good to see him on the roads out there for us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Alex.
So yesterday when we hit 103, new record high temperature, and right around that time we still had the dew points up in the mid 70s, and I was thinking, what? And we still got up to 103 because it takes a lot more energy to heat up that moisture. Had we not had all that moisture, I was wondering what the temperature, the actual air temperature would have been yesterday.
Oh, so, could it have been 110-ish?
Probably so.
Oh my gosh.
I would venture a guess at that. You know, think about it. If you're pushing a car uphill, it's really hard to do, but if you're pushing it, it's going to, that would be somewhat of an analogy. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it was just that hazy, hot, humid, record high temperature, record heat index yesterday at 117. And there's that hazy looking sky. Thank you very much for the KSAT Connect shot. And got that haze still out there this morning because we still have those dew points that are well up in the mid upper 70s out there. All that warm air, the Gulf is so warm, and so that warm moisture just keeps getting pumped on in here, and until we get a change in the wind coming out of the southeast, the faucet's wide open as far as the moisture. Already by noon, we'll have the heat index readings getting up into triple digits. And now here's a little bit of hope. Don't get real excited about this, but at least it's something. So first of all, we do have the heat advisories, excessive heat warnings go into effect this afternoon, once again, because the heat index will be 110 and even higher than that. And we're still watching this big complex up here around Dallas, just working its way through Waco. And you see this line right here, sort of an outflow boundary. So what the hope is, and this model is a little more bullish with this, that this holds together. A lot of times these things, big storm complexes tend to die down once the sun is starting to come up, but there's still all the energy being thrown on in here. So this wants to get a couple of showers, storms by noontime. If it happens, great. I mean, I wouldn't really count too much on that, but even by later on this afternoon, then with all this energy and the afternoon heating, we'll start to see some of the storms trying to pop up around the area. And just because it doesn't show something elsewhere, there still can be a little bit of energy left over, which is why there's the hope there, 20% chance for a shower or two. It'll die down tonight. We do have the slight risk for a strong to severe storm, still a very, very volatile atmosphere out there. The high pressure, here's the culprit. And that thing is going to just kind of sit on. Now, as I know it moves in on top of us, which you usually don't think, okay, that's not a great thing. But in this case, once it settles in right on top of us, it would tend to push down more dry air upstairs in the atmosphere. So we would have lower humidity as we go into the latter portion of the week. So this thing parked on top is not necessarily a bad thing going into the latter part of the week. And that would be the weekend. We're still going to have brutally high temperatures, well up in triple digits. Then it starts to retreat to the southwest, gets us into more of this northwesterly flow, and there's a chance coming around that thing, and these little waves, these glitches right here, that we may see even a couple of showers and thunderstorms and lower temperatures going into next week. Triple digits all the way through the weekend, chance of rain today, and then going into the first part of the week, that weak front that would come on in here, wind shift around to the northeast. Look at those. That's cooler. Yes, mid-90s and even lower 90s, closer to normal temperatures, and some rain chances by the first to middle portion of next week. More after this. Stick around.
Ahead in the next hour, GMSA this morning, 3 SAISD high schools are changing plans for graduation ceremonies. Why families are now worried there won't be enough room for people to attend. Plus, GMSA's Patty Santos shines a spotlight on a full-service mortuary at San Antonio College, how they're preparing the next generation of undertakers. And this is one of the areas we've been keeping an eye on for this whole hour now. 35 at New Laredo Highway. A lot of flashing lights and some slow traffic in that area. We'll talk to RJ coming up on the other side of this break.
Rise and shine. It's 6 a.m., 82 degrees. It got really, really hot yesterday, so we're hoping maybe it's a tiny bit cooler today. We're going to be checking in with Mike for all those wishful thinking.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
You own a snow cone or a ROSPA stand. You're doing very well for yourself this week. Good morning, everybody. It is 6 o'clock on your Wednesday, June 5th.
Hi, thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's been a hot week. Yesterday, and I've heard this from other people, just running errands. I can't imagine like working out in it, but you go inside to the AC and somebody was, actually it was my husband, he was inside. He was like, oh wow, you're hot. Just from coming from the parking lot, he was touching the top of my head.
No kidding. And Justin had that graphic yesterday as far as surfaces and walking your dog, that even the grass is super hot this time of year.
Because think about it, the grass doesn't have a whole lot of moisture in it,
right.
And when it gets that dry like that, and the ground is dry like that. So, but yeah, I can't imagine when you're talking about even ROSPA ice cream cone, how long that would last if you got one. You need a straw for a ROSPA or an ice cream cone, just because it's going to melt so quickly out there. It is hot and humid. We don't have that haze quite as much in this picture as we've seen the past couple of days. It feels like 90. The normal average high temperature today is 91. So it feels like the average high. The heat index right now is 94 there in Pleasanton. We have heat advisories, excessive heat warnings that go into effect this afternoon up until later on. Now, think back to yesterday also. We started off with the heat advisory for much of the area, including here in Bexar County. And then that was bumped up in the afternoon when we started getting those heat index readings above 115. So that is a possibility again today, because we will have, again, the very high heat index readings and the very high humidity. But there is a little bit of a glimmer of hope. Now, there is a small chance for a severe storm. It's all of the area. The atmosphere with all this moisture out there and the high heat is very, very volatile. And we're watching this complex of storms up there, Dallas, and notice how a little bit of an outflow has moved through Waco, heading in toward into northern Louisiana. So this thing is sort of spreading on out, moving down to the southeast. Now, the hope is that some of that energy works down through here. We get a little bit of a wind shift line, and that would kind of take the edge off later on this afternoon, and again, hopefully touch off a shower or thunderstorm or two. So we're already going to be up into the low 90s by noon, and then top off later on today at 100 again. There's that 20% chance for shower or thunderstorm. But of course, prior to that happening, we're going to have those heat index readings just brutally hot. Stays very hot all the way through the weekend. But there's some light at the end of the tunnel starting next week. I think you're going to like this. Wait for the 7-day forecast. Traffic Authority, RJ, anything big going on?
Mike, I did my own, real quick, I did my own little heat test in the car yesterday. I bought myself a iced tea. Want to see how long it would take for those ice cubes to melt. It didn't take very long. So definitely make sure to stay hydrated. And of course, people that are going to be out and about going to definitely have to be cranking the AC today. As we take a look here, 35 New Laredo Highway. This is our biggest trouble spot that we're seeing at the moment. And it is due to, of course, some ongoing construction that we're seeing on the southwest side of town. These are the southbound lanes right there at New Laredo Highway, right there, right before the 410 exit. And that's actually where we go to live night right now, where we find our photojournalist, Alex Gomez, who has made his way from the northwest side out to that part of town. Alex, how are things looking out there at I-35 and New Laredo Highway?
Yeah, good morning, RJ. And yeah, they're still hard at work right now. I don't see them wrapping up, so these lanes are going to be closed for a good while still. And also, if you're coming down 35 southbound, the exit to go 410 is also going to be closed. So a lot of drivers are trying to exit, but they can't. So they have to go further down to Fisher Road, take that U-turn to go 35 north, and then exit to 410 that way. So a bit of a headache this morning, but again, more construction. The good news is that I'm not seeing any crashes within any of the highways. So all construction this morning, RJ.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex. Yeah, that can definitely cause a lot more problems when we see some stalled vehicles or any sort of minor crashes in those areas. As we take a look at our maps here, and this is the spot where Alex is at right now, and we are seeing some backup here all the way up to Casson Road, and looks like things are backing up a little bit to Somerset Road there as well. So good information there from Alex. I was wondering if that 410 exit was closed. We got that confirmed with our guy on the ground there. So good information there. Guys, this is the biggest trouble spot that we're seeing right now. Everything else across the city is looking pretty good. Mark, Steph, back to you guys.
Thank you, RJ. New this morning, San Antonio police say a man was killed in a motorcycle crash last night. It happened at Steuben Parkway and Catman Lane around 9:30 p.m. on the northwest side. Police say the man in his 20s lost control of the motorcycle and crashed into a light pole. EMS crews tried to save him, but the rider died at the scene. No other vehicles were involved.
A 19-year-old man shot by a San Antonio police officer has died. It happened around 5:15 yesterday evening at an apartment complex on Babcock Road near the medical center. And that's where a woman says she called police after fighting with her boyfriend, who she says returned with a gun. An officer says he found a man pointing a gun at the woman, heard the gun go off, then fired his own weapon. The woman was not hurt. The man died at a nearby hospital. Police Chief William McManus described the situation as a domestic dispute. And if you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, we want you to know help is available to you anytime. Scan that QR code on your screen and that will direct you to a long list of resources. You can also visit KSAT.com/domestic violence.
The healing continues for a convenience store clerk who was shot during an apparent robbery here nearly 2 weeks ago. San Antonio police also searching for the suspected shooter seen in store surveillance video. Investigators say that suspect walked into El Sendero Food Mart the night of May 22nd and shot the 33-year-old clerk almost instantly. People in the area of El Sendero and Thousand Oaks have been on edge ever since.
I just hope they catch him, because then we can rest a little easier, be a little bit more relaxed here.
They're going to do their job, and he can't hide forever, so they'll eventually catch up to him.
Although that suspect was caught on camera, police have not tracked him down. The store owner says the clerk who was shot could be back at work soon.
And turning toward the border, President Biden's executive order on immigration went into effect overnight.
It limits the number of migrants who enter the U.S. illegally from staying here as they seek asylum.
As ABC's Christian Cordero tells us, the move is already getting pushback from both sides.
This morning, sweeping new rules for migrants at the southern border. In an aggressive executive action, President Biden immediately shutting down the asylum process in the U.S. for people crossing the border illegally, once migrant apprehensions averaged 2,500 a day over the course of a week.
Doing nothing is not an option. We have to act.
The rules would hold until unscheduled apprehensions dip below 1,500 per day for 2 weeks. There are limited exceptions for unaccompanied children and victims of human trafficking, and there is no limit on the legal process at ports of entry. The administration says something needed to be done to break months-long opposition to a bipartisan border security bill from congressional Republicans and their party's standard bearer.
The Republicans in Congress got a call from Donald Trump, don't do the deal. Because, you see, he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Former President Trump is now among the Republicans, saying Biden's move is too little, too late.
The truth is that Joe Biden's executive order won't stop the invasion. It's weak and it's pathetic.
Immigration advocates worry the executive order will only worsen the already months-long backlog at border crossings and endanger migrants.
What we are expecting now is that the Biden administration will weaponize what's left of our asylum system to criminalize migrants.
The president risking legal and political blowback from all sides, including progressives who worry with Republicans not budging on their stance against Biden, the move could backfire.
I think in the end we end up hurting the very people that we're fighting for.
The ACLU says it plans to challenge Biden's action in court. Christian Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
In other headlines, current and former employees at two major artificial intelligence companies are sounding the alarm about what they describe as a reckless and secretive industry. In an open letter, the group is calling for AI companies to stop blocking employees from openly criticizing them and create anonymous ways for employees to voice concerns to regulators. So far, not a single federal law governing AI has been passed.
An out-of-this-world mystery. A 15-inch piece of metal and carbon fell out of the sky into a North Carolina man's home. Now, Mike Wooten thought a bird flew into his window, but then found a strange object that could be debris from space. So far, no official word on the source of that object, but one expert claims that a SpaceX capsule may have passed over the impact site, and SpaceX hasn't commented.
Some of the last surviving veterans of World War II are gathering in France today. Celebrations underway ahead of tomorrow's 80th anniversary of D-Day. That's when the U.S. and other Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy in 1944. It's considered the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. Few veterans from back then are still alive, and those who are right around 100 years old.
Time now 6:10 and 82 degrees for now.
Still to come, we're checking out the sights and sounds of Cowboys minicamp as players get back to work up in Frisco.
And let's look out there with live cam. It's been a hot week, and yesterday got really hot in the afternoon, but Mike says he might have a glimmer of hope for next week. We're all ears, Mike.